Test. Well, can you guys all hear me? Is this a good, like, speaking sound?
You might get that microphone, because some people, the head in here.
Okay, let me ask some.
There's a microphone right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
My phone.
Hello.
Okay.
Turn it up.
Thank you. All right.
Bluetooth connected.
Hello. I don't know. Is it on? Hello?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay. All right. Okay.
25, 55, look.
Oh, that's for the slideshow. Yeah.
We're trying to get the microphone, the speaker to.
Okay.
You might have to move the speakers back, we'll be moving around sometimes.
Music only on.
I don't really need the microphone. I feel like it's gonna take a little bit more time out of my.
We can hear your voice just because.
Yeah, I was just gonna speak.
Okay.
You're outside.
Okay. It's my workout here. Okay, so. All right. So hello, everyone. A slideshow about holistic health practices. And holistic health just basically means doing everything that you can to help balance your mind and your body and your soul equally, not just focusing on the physical health or just the emotional health. Is a broad range of things that you can do for every part of yourself. Basically, we're all complex, we're all layered, right? We all have experiences and things in our life that shaped us to be who we are today. All right, so what is something that you think of when you hear holistic health? Does anybody have any ideas or things they want to say?
Wellness.
Wellness? Okay. Anyone else?
You want?
Taking care of your mind, your body, all
Okay, everything. That's good. Okay, awesome. Well, some people think of holistic health and they think, well, I gotta do some yoga, before sunrise, and then I'll be a holistic, healthy person, right? And then some people think, oh, I'm not holistic enough. I'm not thinking enough. Let me think and try to live more holistically and not do anything with my body, right? And that's also neglecting that other part of themselves, the physical, right? And some people think, oh, holistic health, I have to devote my entire life and go away from people and become a nun or a monk or a priest or someone to be a holistic, healthy person, right? And all of those are kind of true, but this is the real answer. The opposite of holistic health is when you're addicted to things and when you're not taking care of your body. So that looks like addicted to alcohol, addicted to food, addicted to caffeine, addicted to technology, addicted to drugs, nicotine, addicted to certain relationships, certain habits can even be something that can become an addiction or something that forms your behaviors to then become addictions. Some people can be addicted to work even. The term workaholic,
Yep.
that's because their life is not in balance. They're doing too much work and not enough taking care of themselves in their personal life, all right? So holistic health can look like you taking charge of your life later on. These people are examples of people who are vegans and chose to change their entire life. And this person, because of their, on the left here, I'm saying this woman on the left, they turned their life around at 70 years old. And then people in their community started interviewing them and saying, hey, what did you do to become so youthful, so vibrant, so young at 70 years old? And that has now turned into a business and a brand. And she's an entrepreneur at 70 years old. You know, she's more than 70 years old today. But the point is, she started her life over and she said, no, I still have life within me. I still have energy within me. I'm going to start another chapter of my life at 70 and keep going. And this person on the right, they created a whole lifestyle from just posting on Facebook and saying, hey, I'm 74 years old. I'm the elderly vegan, is what people know him online as. But he shows his progress, like this picture on the right, of just lifting weights, being outdoors, being active, being healthy, and holistically healthy, right? At 74 years old. So you could do holistic health at any time, you know. This woman lived to 109 years old, and she was a painter and an active walker. She lived independently on her own until she turned 109 years old. And part of that is because she changed her lifestyle, and she dedicated, it says on the right, 90 years of her life to being a vegan. And she kept on being a painter, and she kept on actively walking every day, being, you know, in community, doing things at 109 years old. And then she passed away. So again, these are just a few examples of holistic health and what you could do with your life at any time in your life. All right. So holistic health examples, they range from what you do for work, what you do in terms of lifestyle, exercise, healthcare, nutrition, hygiene, your friends, the way that your lifestyle is set up, your stress management, hobbies that you do, the things that make you feel driven or successful or purposeful, right? All of those things are related to your health and, you know, the full spectrum of your health, right? So the benefits of holistic nutrition is that instead of just eating things to get through the day or taking stimulants or things that we talked about before, right? Having a holistic nutrition in your life is something that will improve your sleep, balance your hormones, help your mood improve over time, increase your energy levels, improve your digestion and fighting off disease. Also sustainable weight loss without the needing to restrict yourself or deprive yourself of food, right? So you become someone who, because you take care of your body from what you eat, your body does the same. Your body takes care of you if you're sick or if you're, you know, too tired with, you know, whatever's going on in your life. Your body will start to mirror, you know, how you take care of it, right? And then over time, right, after you get that intake of enough sleep, enough nutrients, enough exercise, you start to look at what influences you on the external factors, right? Not just the internal, the external factors of your work-life balance and your personal life balance, right? So on the left, you have this graph here. I hope everybody can see these. But on the left is what makes up your workplace mental space and what makes up your personal life mental space. So some things that people don't think about is how is their physical work environment impacting them and their health, right? How is your social environment at work impacting your health, right? Are you having conversations every single morning saying, hello, how are you? You know, checking in with people, getting your tasks done for the day, making sure your time management is done properly? Or are you just going into work and, you know, having small talk or, you know, wasting time or not getting your work done? You know, those are the type of things that you have to look at in order to feel that daily holistic health, that daily, you know, management of your time and your resources and things, that are important to you, right? Just like on the right with your personal life, your social life and your financial life are things that you focus on more personally, right? If there's a budget that you have to go on at work and you have to get these things bought and these things sold and all of this done within one budget, right? It's different than your personal life where you're like, okay, I have bills, I have health issues I have to focus on, I have kids, or I have a husband, or have, you know, something that is really time demanding in my personal life, and it's taking away, you know, either your social life, your cultural life, your physical life. You know, you have to keep all of those things in balance within your personal life, just like you have to keep things in balance with your work life. So again, this all affects you. All of, those things make up your day-to-day activities and habits, and those things influence your behavior and your personality and your mood, right? So you want to make sure you're having both your personal life and your work life in balance so that everything else, stays within where it needs to be, so to speak. And then on the right here, you have some things that influence you that maybe you might not think of. So these are also called the degrees of influence here. So you're influenced by your education level and the people that you went to school with or the people that you took class with. You're influenced by the government and their choices, right? Their policies, the things that they help people with or don't help people with. Those influence us, right? Just like your family influences you on the things that you believe, the things that you want to, grow up to be when you're older, right? The things that you think are okay or not okay, right? Some people were taught it's okay for me to express anger, but when it comes to sadness or frustration, my family did not express that. That's not okay, right? So you have to think about how your family influenced you to become the person that you are, or how did your family not influence you to be this person that you came to be, right? You have to take a really serious inventory of what you think, what you do, how you act, and you could trace them back to your degrees of influence here, just like with religion, right? People sometimes are taught religion when they're really young, sometimes they're taught religion when they're older, sometimes people go through different religions and they, try to find something that speaks to them. No matter what your journey is, if you follow a certain religion or a certain way of life, as it's also called, then, you're likely going to gravitate towards people who have that same belief or have that same way of life, way of living, right? So think about that too. When you think of holistic health, think of the type of people that you like to be around, the type of relationships that you like to interact with or not interact with, right? And then another one, we've talked about business or workplace quite a bit on that left slide, so I'll just leave it there. But the media and the art that we consume also has a big, a really big part of our daily lives now that social media is more of, in the forefront of things. Like you have to have like 2 or 3 social media profiles nowadays, like it's not just Facebook or YouTube anymore, it's LinkedIn, Indeed, Instagram, Snapchat, if you're online a lot. But something to keep, your eye on as well, like what type of shows do you watch, what type of movies do you watch, are you listening to podcasts for 4 hours of your day, are you being influenced by the things that you're listening to, right? That can go into emotional health as well. So I'm going to keep this slide up for a bit, just so y'all could look at it, but those are very important parts of, what influences us and how that influences our decisions is what we have around us. So are there any questions before I move forward? Any comments?
I can't read it with my glasses on or off all of this
Oh.
one anyway.
Okay.
Physical work environment, physical environment, financial. Okay. Okay.
All right. So we're going to move on now. All right. So ranges of wellness and how we can become more well in culture with one another. So on the left-hand side here, these are dimensions or ranges of wellness. So wellness, again, holistic health wellness, is emotional, spiritual, cultural, intellectual, financial, environmental, occupational, physical, and social. So social could also mean cultural in some aspects. It's just social in this regard is focusing on the relationships that we have. But yeah, so in the culture wheel for the ranges of culture, so an example is the foods you drink and the language you speak, right? If you are in a culture of people that only speak English, for example, and a culture of people that only, eat, let's just say, barbecue, smoked barbecue. That's what they like to eat, and they like to speak English, and then they like to have traditions and rituals of going out to football games, right? That's a whole culture within itself, right? Just like another example of culture with language, food, and traditions and rituals would be people that speak Spanish, right? And they go and they have food and drinks that may be related to like grilling food, having tacos or a big banquet or a big feast as a family. And their tradition is coming together every single Saturday and gathering their family around. So these are just different types of cultures that you could think of. We could sit here and list hundreds of cultures and things that people do together, but this is just an example of like, okay, think of one or two things that you would like to see in the culture around you, and then you think of those things and you go and find it, right? So if you're someone who, again, like that first example, you like to speak English, you like to have barbecued food, and you like to get together for sports games, right? So that culture, you would find yourself at a football game, a baseball game, a basketball game, whatever type of sports games, but you would want to find people within that culture and make friends with them, socialize with them, hang out with them, just be a part of that culture, right? But if you're someone who doesn't speak English and doesn't like to have barbecue food and doesn't like sports games or watching sports games, right, you wouldn't find yourself with people who are the opposite of that. So this example and this exercise for the culture wheel is also something that helps people be more authentic to their interests and their purpose and what they like out of life. Because sometimes people can look at all these things in their life, right? They can have the understanding of the culture that they want to be in, the financial, job that they want to have, the relationships that they want to be in. They could be a spiritual person or a religious person, and they could have their emotions in balance. But if there's someone who's not living authentically to the culture and the values that they have within themselves, later on in life, that can become a bigger problem. Because you're now going from someone who understands themselves, understands the culture that they want to be in, but is ultimately not acting on their best judgment. And that's just what we don't want to be in life. We don't want to be someone who's fraudulent or not authentic. We want to be someone who values the people around us. We want to be someone who has good relationships with others. We don't want to be judgmental. We don't want to argue with other people, right? So when you're in these cultures and these places that match your values and match what you want to do in life, you're able to live in a more harmonious way with other people. You're able to live a more judgment-free life. You're able to live a life that is more accepting and tolerating of other people, right? So that is also another aspect to holistic health that people do not think about. Some just general examples of holistic treatment. So there are things in that first slide I showed someone doing yoga during the sunrise, but that is some people's way of generally relaxing and calming down, just like getting a massage can be very relaxing and help someone calm down, right? Doing cardio, when you wake up or before you go to bed can help someone regulate themselves, help them calm down, de-stress. Some people, it's a change of environment. They say, okay, I'm fine with my job, my relationship, I'm fine with the amount of money I'm making, but I just don't feel calm mentally and I'm not able to sleep. I need a change of environment to do that. So they go hiking once a week or on the weekends. They go paddle, rowing or paddling. They go to the wildlife refuge, Medicine Park, those places where nature is more on the forefront of things versus business and traffic and rush hour, right? So some people, they just need a change of environment. Some people, they just need self-care. Some people just need to move their bodies, the point of this. Other mindful, holistic treatment practices is deep breathing. Doing things like box breathing out of the left side of your nose, exhaling out of the right side of your nose, holding for 3 seconds, exhaling for 3 seconds, inhaling for 3 seconds. That does a lot to help people with relieving anxiety or depression or things like having a panic attack, doing box breathing, doing deep breathing is a really good way to stop that.
Can you tell more about that box breathing and the nostril thing you mentioned?
Yes, so box breathing is basically you hold your breath for 3 seconds, breathe in for 3 seconds, hold for another 3 seconds, exhale for 3 seconds. So it's 4 sides of the box, and then 3 seconds, 3 seconds, 3 seconds, 3 seconds. It's a box. So it's called box breathing. But when you do any sort of deep breathing exercises or like pausing, you are engaging your parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for getting you out of fight, flight, or flee, right? Or freeze, fight, flight, freeing, or freezing, is related to your parasympathetic nervous system. So the more that you meditate, the more that you do deep breathing exercises, the more that you go outside in nature, change your environment, the more you're naturally calming yourself down, right? And the more that you naturally calm yourself down, the more serotonin and melatonin you produce, which are feel-good hormones, relaxing hormones, right? We naturally produce this. We don't need to have supplements. We don't need to have pills. We need to learn how to regulate ourselves and do things so we're at balance to be able to calm ourselves down, right? That's also another part of why Western medicine doesn't work for everyone, because some parts of Western medicine don't emphasize these things. They emphasize pharmaceuticals and testing regularly and going back and back and back and back and back and back to see the doctor every 3 months, right? But imagine if your doctor said, okay, let's look at the holistic health and what's going on in all aspects of your life, right? They would introduce you into these natural ways how to calm yourself down. Some people, holistic emotional treatment works with CBT talk therapy, works with, somatic therapy, like Qigong, like yoga, like Tai Chi, like playing racquetball. Some people, they just need that outlet to express that anger, or that sadness, or those feelings that may be, again, uncomfortable because their family never taught them to express those feelings, right? I know when I started playing racquetball, it was easy for me to stop smoking, right? So I had to find something that was going to replace that addiction or that bad habit with a physical movement. So when I play racquetball and I go for a bike ride and I do yoga and I stretch, I don't feel the need to smoke that marijuana anymore. I don't feel that need to go and run to an outlet and spend my money for an answer from a doctor, right? These are things that you can do naturally yourself that over time you will notice the difference. And then once you notice the difference, you'll be able to know yourself, right? Because when you know yourself, you're not going to be freaking out. You're not going to be panicking. You're not going to be losing sleep trying to figure out what's wrong with you, right? Everybody should be able to know themselves in and out, right? No matter what's going on in your life, you should have that little inkling or that little thing in your brain that goes, oh, something's off a little bit, or something's not quite right, or this feels right. I feel comfortable here, right? I feel safe in this relationship. I feel heard at this board meeting. I feel like I'm a valued member of this family, right? You should have that internal, does this feel right? Does this not feel right? Do I need to be doing something else? Am I doing this too much, right? This is what we want to be. We want to be here to holistically treat things, to do things naturally, to do things for free, right? Everybody wants to know what's a way I could budget, or what's a way I could save money, what's a way I could help myself financially. Do more things like this for free. And some people with a spiritual holistic treatment is prayer. Some people don't feel the need to do yoga or do meditation or talk therapy. They just pray about it. They say, okay, I'm trusting that this is gonna not be a problem after I pray about it, right? And that stress leaves them naturally. And I say, hey, if it works for you, it works for you, right? Just like the person who does yoga, if it works for you, it works for you. The person who listens to music and speaks to a therapist, if it works for you, it works for you, right? But the point is, I just wanted to share different methods, different things that people can do on their own. But sometimes people, sorry, let me go back again. Sometimes people need that extra support, that external support at times. I don't want to make it sound like you have to do everything yourself. So let me just backtrack a little. Some people, they need this extra support of speaking to a reverend, speaking to a therapist, seeing a massage therapist twice a month, doing these things that require a social relationship, a bond, right? Some people do need more community help. Some people do need that social aspect of connecting with another person. Some people do need that reassurance that, hey, life is okay. I just saw so-and-so. I spoke to them and I feel better. And I do that same thing again every single week or, every few weeks. And that helps them and helps them treat whatever they're going through natural, social, holistic ways. All right. But here are some examples of doing personal training, inventory, intake management. So some people do calories, meals, and water intake on the left here. Some people do the full spectrum. They say, okay, I'm going to look at my macros, my fruits and vegetable intake, the nuts and oils, seeds, fluids, supplements they take, how much sleep they got. Some people are really intricate and track every single detail of things, right? But some people, they're like, okay, what did I have for breakfast? What did I have for lunch? Did I have a snack before bed? How much water did I take in? And then they're like, okay, this was a good day, or this wasn't so good of a day, or this was a healthy day, or this was not a healthy day, and they track it that way. Again, other people are more meticulous, and they're like, okay, I need to know every single detail of what I took in, what I didn't take in, the exercise levels I did, how much sunlight I took in today, what mood was I in, what feelings did I feel, all of that is there on the right, but these are just some examples. All right. And then for the life coaching aspect of things, this is someone's different examples of a mental health check-in. So on the left here, you have someone who tracks their intentions for the day, how they felt throughout the day, things that they're grateful for throughout the day, the affirmations they use, how much sleep they got, how much water they got, the best part of their day, their energy levels, and their stress levels, right? Again, very meticulous, tracking, very specific. And then on the right here, we have someone who just wants to be a little more lighthearted, a little silly. They said, okay, what things today made me happy? And they have a list for that. What things today made me sad? What things today made me mad? What was the best moment of today? What was the worst moment of today, right? And then even the mood they're in, things that they're thankful for, things that they're proud of that they did today. More of a lighthearted, like fun, silly approach to things on the right. But again, these are both very helpful if you do them daily or even once a week, right? Say, okay, I had a goal for this week or a goal for this day, and this is what I wrote down. At the end of the day, this happened. You can't be perfect. You can't plan for everything. Sometimes your plans get pushed back, right? Sometimes your plans don't happen the way that you planned it. Sometimes the plan happened and it made you feel like something was still missing, So these are important things to track because, again, life is not perfect, life is messy. But the more you're aware of yourself, the more you're aware of your moods, your behaviors, the things that you have in mind, like the best part of your day, or if someone did something nice for me that day, or if I did something nice for me that day. It's nice to write those things down and keep track of it, because journaling and writing things out, writing out your intentions, being more grateful, practicing gratitude, those are things that is backed by neuroscience, because the more grateful and intentional you are, the less anxious and stressed out you are. And it's actually, you could track this and look it up online if you'd like to see the videos. It's very incredible, but gratitude and anxiety cannot occupy the mind at the same time. So even if you look at images or pictures or videos of people doing these brain scans or MRIs and things, they show, like biomechanically, Anxiety and gratitude are very different brain waves and neurological pathways of the mind. So you have to be intentional with your life and choose to activate that gratitude pathway versus that stressed out, anxious, worried anxiety pathway in your mind, right? So again, the more you know yourself, the more intentional you are, the healthier you become just over time, right? Okay, moving on. Do you guys have any other questions, any ideas, anything you want to talk about from this class?
No, I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Anything? No? Anything at this
I
table?
want to know your credentials and why are you here?
Oh, my credentials. Okay. Well, I am a student at Cameron University getting my degree because today to teach you need a master's degree. They do not respect certifications anymore. So I started off being a life coaching certified person in 2018. I was doing that along with trade school to have a backup plan. Funny enough, I'm using all of my gifts and talents today, I'll say that. But I went to a year-long program for life coaching in Chicago, Illinois. We met every single week. It was like exposure therapy and group therapy together, and learning. So very challenging year-long life coaching program. But at the end of it, I learned how to build emotional and social skills and help other people do that as well. And then I did a personal training certification online and learned how the body and the mind are connected. And there's a lot more research today on how doctors should be nutritionists first, because a lot of disease and sickness comes from, are we eating the right things? Are we having enough electrolytes in our body? Are we having enough vitamins? And I'm sure you all know the American diet is a little bit iffy on vitamins and electrolytes and proper intake. So today we have the research saying, hey, this stuff has to change. We need to go towards, right, a more holistic health approach to things with nutrition versus the supplements and the pills and the pharmaceuticals. So I'm glad to be in that era and that time where it's changing, and someone's not just going to put me in a mental hospital and say, here's some pills, put you in a corner, right? That's what it was 50 years ago.
Right.
And there are people in, mental hospitals, just like there are people in jails today, that don't need to be there. They just needed that socializing. They needed that extra step of someone who's going to go and look at their life, look at their work, look at their influences, look at things around them, right? All this stuff, right? All this stuff can make or break a person. Sometimes being in the wrong environment, around the wrong people, taking in the wrong things, destroys your life. So that's why I want people to live a more natural way, because, and this is not something I teach in classes, but I'm a very spiritual person. So I believe that the Spirit has a lot of power behind it. We could either bless our life and speak life over ourselves, or we could curse it, right? We could do things that don't give us life, that take away our energy, that take away our health, that take away our joy, right? So no one wants that. No one wants to live a life that they don't like and that they don't feel fulfilled in, right? Right.
Do you know of any naturopath or naturopath, however you pronounce that, in the area instead of regular medical doctors?
Oh, I don't currently. I've been told to pursue that route myself, but I think that me personally, there's some things within the system that I don't like, so I'm not pursuing that path per se. But I am interested in teaching people and doing workshops. I did a workshop in Cache, Oklahoma, before doing this, but it was at the end of last year, and I was able to partner with, I don't know if you all have heard of Tunnel Vision Recovery, but it's an addiction treatment center. So they're like, oh, this is great information, so I got to network with them. And another place that's like a wellness space, they do like facials, massages, stretching, supplements. So yeah, I've been able to connect and network a bit, but yeah, I am still in college, so I understand that there's a buffer between the connections I can make without a degree.
You have any handouts?
Yeah.
Do you have any handouts? I'd
I-
like one on the little funny face thing.
Oh,
I tried
from
to take a
this?
picture of
Can I
it.
just take a picture
Oh,
of that?
yeah,
I tried,
yeah.
and it didn't come, I have a
Sorry,
little
let-
flip phone, and it didn't come out very well, I couldn't read it all. Maybe if I get up like she's.
Oh, for this?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
couldn't read it.
That's a good one. That's a great
Yeah.
slide. Your presentation was excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And what is your major? I used to work in the education department. I was in when it was the separate department, I was the dean's secretary, administrative assistant, and then I ended up going over to a different department. So what's your major?
Sociology is my major, minoring in environmental science.
Oh, my husband's a part of this.
Yeah. But yes, I believe that what we do within the environment as well impacts us. So I'm going to be putting out books in academia that talk about things from the web of life, like the entire perspective. But yeah.
I don't know if I can still read some of the words. It's, the light's hitting it wrong.
Oh, is there a glare? Yeah. I don't know. There is kind of a glare. If I.
I could just write it, I guess.
Okay. All right. Well, okay.